Welcome to Fintech Finance News. Can you start off by introducing yourself and your company?
Yes. Hello, I'm Chris Cox. I'm the COO of Apiture. Apiture is a digital banking company, so we provide digital banking services to community banks and credit unions in the US market, full service, consumer and business banking.
And tell us about digital banking here in the US market. What does it look like? Is it growing?
Yeah, so digital banking in our market, as you know, is not new. So depending who's counting, there are something like 8,000 banks and credit unions in the US market. Every single one of them has a digital banking solution and has probably had for a while. But what's happening in our industry is financial institutions are feeling a lot of pressure to have better digital experiences for their customers. And that's because consumers' expectations continue to evolve around digital engagement with really all businesses, including financial institutions. And it's because financial institutions are feeling a lot of competitive pressure from fintechs and really great digital solutions. So there's a new push to make sure, as it relates to digital engagement, that credit union members and community bank customers have really, really good digital engagement solutions. And that's what we do at Apiture.
And are consumers latching on to digital banking, really understanding it and wanting more of it?
They are, for sure. So I think there's no doubt that self-service banking is the preferred channel. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody anymore. Branches still exist. Branches still have a purpose. A lot of times I think maybe it's mostly for marketing or a physical presence in a given market. But consumers, like they engage with all business activity, more and more to prefer to do it over their phone.
And looking ahead then with digital banking, what are the trends that are really growing right now? Where do you see the industry in, let's say, the next 5 years from now?
Yeah, so a couple of trends that we see happening that we think are really pushing the next evolution of digital engagement as it relates to banking. So one is the use of data. So financial institutions have got a ton of data about their customers, and they mostly don't use that data very well. And it's not because they don't want to, but it's because typically the data they have about their customers, they can't access it. They don't have necessarily the expertise to turn the data into insights, and then they can't turn those insights into actions. In other words, getting their customers to do things. So, one of the things that we're doing at Apiture is making sure that our clients, financial institutions, have access to their own data to draw meaningful insights about their customer base and then to trigger actions from those. So that's you'll see more and more focus on data, I think, in the financial institution space. I don't think it's a stretch to say that financial institutions know more about their customers than really any other business. And that's because financial activity touches every aspect of a person's life throughout their entire life. So it's just a matter of leveraging that data to grow the business. So that's a trend for sure. We are really involved with what we call embedded banking or embedded finance. We think about this as how can you take a bank or a credit union and expand it into digital channels that it doesn't own. So outside of its own digital banking presence, into partnerships that allow it to leverage other companies' digital presence. So it's a way for a financial institution to grow beyond the branch through technology. So we call that embedded banking, and think about taking pieces of a banking solution and exposing those pieces to a third-party digital domain. Big growth channel for financial institutions that we're really involved with. And then, of course, these days you can't get away from the idea of artificial intelligence with ChatGPT and all the things people are thinking about now as it relates to how does real AI apply to real business, including financial institutions. So we see a tremendous amount of opportunities to change the way that financial institutions engage with their customers using artificial intelligence as a backbone.
And expanding on the partnerships and collaboration, how crucial is that for the financial services, and how is that really benefiting the customer at the end of the day?
So tremendously important, and that's one of the things that we do at Apiture is really emphasize the ability for our clients to work with whichever third parties they want to. So our job is to seamlessly integrate third-party solutions into the financial institution's holistic digital experience. That's what we do. So every financial institution has a unique customer base that it's trying to serve in unique ways. all kinds of great partner solutions out there in the market that a given financial institution can use to better serve its customers, to help it grow its business. And there should be no limits on their ability to partner with those companies. So at Apiture, for example, you're never going to hear us say, oh, we don't work with that company, but you have to use this company instead. Bring your partners, we'll integrate them and make them part of your overall experience. And it's really important in terms of growth and ability for financial institutions to serve their customers.
And you talked about data, which is so interesting because of course it needs to be protected because it's very private information, but there's so much benefit to open data. For someone who's watching and wants to understand more, how do you strike that balance between protecting the data but also maximizing the data?
Sure, that is a great question. Financial institutions are, of course, in the business of trust. So throughout the history of banking, at some level, it's always been about trust. So I think the banking business at its core is relatively simple, right? It's all about taking deposits and making loans and enabling payments. And you can add all kinds of cool technology solutions on top of those to make them better, but it's still about trust at its core. So when we think about giving financial institutions the power to use their own data to create value both for themselves and for their customers, one of the things that we think about is make sure that you're not doing anything to violate the trust of your customers, which maybe sounds intuitive and obvious, but as people think about use cases for using financial institution data, a lot of times they're only thinking about how the financial institution could benefit. And I think consumers can see through that pretty well. Like if you're not giving me some value for my own data, I'm not sure I'm going to trust you to use my data the way that you want to. So there's that trust dynamic and the give and take, that's an important part of it. And then there, of course, there's the regulatory and compliance frameworks that financial institutions and their technology partners have to adhere to, which is all about protecting personal data, protecting confidentiality. So any good solution provider is going to make sure that whatever solutions it offers to financial institutions are regulatory compliant. So that's a big part of it too. And then there are technology solutions around tokenization and masking of personal data that are just sort of table stakes anytime you're going to use actual people's data for a solution.
Tell me about the regulatory landscape here in the US. Is it fostering digital banking in the way it should?
So I believe that the regulators in the US have done a pretty good job of understanding the importance of technology and technology evolution to financial institutions, especially as it relates to allowing them to serve their customers better and allowing them to grow. I think the regulators are interested and curious about what's coming next in terms of technology. So for example, at Apiture, everything we do is hosted in the cloud. So when providers like Apiture started to move infrastructure into the cloud, the regulators were really interested in, well, how do we manage that? What are the security frameworks we put around it? What is the impact on our business and our clients' business? And I think they've done a good job of understanding, and then applying regulations as appropriate. But it continues to evolve, right? Technology will continue to evolve and regulations will continue to evolve.
And last question, we're here at the Fintech Meetup.
Yes.
How is it going so far for you? What's standing out in terms of key topics?
So going great. I just really got here, so I haven't had a chance to experience the full show yet. But I mean, for us, right, banking, technology, that's what we do. It's where we see the opportunity. So shows like this, it's always really fun when bankers and technology solution providers get a chance to really meet and sit down and spend some quality time together. So we are having some really fun and engaging discussions with financial institutions, and it's always fun to see what other companies in our space are doing. So it's been a great show so far.